From 5 News, I'm meteorologist Stephen Elmore. This is your 5+ extended forecast. Finally, that system is arriving late this evening throughout most of Sunday and into Monday as well. This has been the large system that's going to be making major impacts across the United States, finally arriving by the time we get to the end of this weekend into the start of the week. So what is the latest details that you need to know for us here at home ahead of this next system? The good news is that we've been talking about for the past couple of days is that we avoided any of the major winter weather impacts. By saying that, I mean that most of the snow and most of the freezing rain is remaining further off towards the north, across most of Missouri into Illinois, into Indiana, Ohio, mainly across the Midwest is where most of that major winter weather impacts are going to be. We still have the chances, though, of seeing some very minor winter weather impacts when it comes to the chances of some snow flurries going into Sunday night, mainly across northwest Arkansas. Now, I will tell you, the major part of our winter system is going to be is how cold it's going to be going into Sunday night, into Monday, and then the days after that. This is definitely going to be the coldest air we have felt so far this season, and unfortunately, we have to use the terminology of that dangerous cold. By the time we get to Sunday evening, and not until we get to Thursday afternoon, so between Sunday and Thursday, wind chill values expected to stay below freezing. In the morning hours, especially going into Monday morning and Tuesday morning and even into Wednesday morning, wind chill value is going to be anywhere between 0 and 15 degrees. This is not only the type of cold that's going to affect people, but it's going to affect pets, and we definitely have to start preparing our homes because we don't want to have any of those frozen pipes by the time we start to warm back up by the time we get closer towards the end of this week. Let's look at futurecast of what this system has been trending like over the past several hours, minor changes here and now. By the time we're getting this close to the system, there's not going to be many major changes to what futurecast is going to look like. Now we're really starting to get that fine-tuned data of what this system is going to end up being. So here's a look by the time we get to tonight, overnight into Sunday morning. Scattered showers going to pick up across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. I think mainly during the overnight hours going into Sunday is going to be our heaviest period of where we see the majority of that rainfall. By the time we get into Sunday mid-morning into the early afternoon, maybe entering into a little bit of a lull, and you may step outside tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours and say, the system's done. We didn't get any snow. We didn't get any of the winter precipitation. Well, that's unfortunately the time we enter into that lull. Here's a look at around 11 a.m. for our Sunday. Most of the heavy rainfall, or those scattered showers at that, pushing off towards the east, and we're going to see this opening in the system here. Unfortunately, that pressure system is going to start to wrap around some moisture, and with the cold air in it, it's going to come in the way of some snowflakes, mainly across northwest Arkansas. I'm not expecting any major impacts from the snowflakes from this system. Generally, we're looking at around a dusting across northwest Arkansas, but don't be surprised if we get some snowflakes and some heavier batches to mix in there at some point during the timeline between Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. Here's a look at 4:30. Again, very minor impacts, mainly across extreme northwest Arkansas to start off with, but by the time we get into Sunday evening, this is the period where we could see some heavier bursts in there, mainly across northwest Arkansas. Can't rule out a few flurries across the River Valley, though. By the time we get into late Sunday night going into Monday morning, the snow threat is done, but that's when the really strong winds from the north-northwest are going to be filtering in, bringing in the coldest air we have felt so far this season. During tomorrow, mainly during the mid-morning into the early afternoon and even going into the evening hours, there is a low-end threat for some isolated thunderstorms. So you're saying, we're already dealing with the winter weather effect. Now you're telling me there's severe storms as well? Well, I'll tell you, we are on the lowest end risk for that. Majority of the severe weather is going to be further off towards the east and towards the southeast. Portions of Arkansas are listed as having a elevated risk for some severe weather going into tomorrow, but I think that's well off towards central Arkansas and eastern Arkansas, where we could see some of those strong to severe thunderstorms. Back here at home, I think especially further east you live, Johnson, Logan, Scott counties has the best chances of maybe hearing a rumble of thunder throughout the scattered showers period by the time we get to tomorrow, mid-morning into the early afternoon and the evening hours for tomorrow. It's not expected to be anything widespread. I think we could see an isolated thunderstorm or two that could produce some of those stronger winds. Really, that's one of our lowest concerns that we have. And based off the Storm Prediction Center, it's listed as that level 0 risk for tomorrow throughout the day. We look at northwest Arkansas, again, mainly some scattered showers. An isolated thunderstorm can't be ruled out throughout the day. As we go on into the late evening hours, that's when we start to see those rain chances starting to fall apart, and that's that lull period that we're talking about, that little break where it's going to be in between after the rain and before that wraparound system comes around, bringing in the snow chances. I'll step off here. You see by the time we get to the evening hours, you see maybe starting to see some of those snowflakes in between the timeline of just afternoon tomorrow and into the evening hours for Sunday. Across the River Valley, temperature is going to be right around those 40s, but the temperatures really drop off going into the evening as those strong winds start to move their way in. Again, some scattered showers, some could be heavy at some times. Isolated thunderstorm can't be ruled out either, but that rain starts to wrap up by the time we get into the afternoon and evening hours, and that's when the strong Arctic air is going to come blasting in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, dropping us from where we are right there into the mid-40s down to feeling like we are close to 0, anywhere between 0 and 10, waking up on Monday morning. Let's take a wider look at this system. Again, by the time we are getting into Sunday, this is what the system is going to look like. Early overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, I think most of the state of Arkansas, portions of Oklahoma into southern Missouri are seeing some scattered showers. This is a part of a large system, though. It's not just a rain event, but this is going to affect multiple states across mainly the Midwest, but even stretching us far north to the Canadian border as well. The good news is, and the good news that we've been talking about the past several days, is where that freezing line would be. And the good news continues to come by the chances of only seeing that freezing line across portions of southern and central Missouri and into Kansas as well. That's the good news, is that mainly the frozen precipitation looks to be remaining further off towards the north. Now, scattered showers throughout the day, and again, a few isolated thunderstorms can't be ruled out back here at home. If you got friends, you got family into portions of Kansas, into Missouri, Illinois, Ohio, into portions of the East Coast as well. This is where that system is going to cause a lot of major impacts. We let this roll out throughout Sunday morning, and you see places like Kansas City and St. Louis having that line in between the freezing rain and sleet and that snow. This is where that heaviest snowpack is going to be. But again, south of that freezing line where the scattered showers are going to be, that's what we're going to be dealing with really throughout the day. I want you to keep an eye on this, though. Here is where that system, that low pressure system, starts to wrap around, and now we're pulling in that moisture with the cold air involved in it. And during this period between Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening, not only in northwest Arkansas could we see maybe a few showers here and there, and when it comes to snow showers at that, expecting minimal impacts, but take a look at what develops further off towards the east and central and eastern Arkansas. That's where the severe risk is going to be for Sunday evening as those thunderstorms really start to come together now along and ahead of that cold front. That's where the risk is going to be across portions of eastern Arkansas into Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama. We avoid the severe risk, though, when it comes to severe weather. Can't rule out, though, some snow showers wrapping around behind that system. We let this play out, and this is where the greatest period of time is going to be between Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening to see some minor impacts when it comes to some snowflakes. I think generally we're well below an inch of snow when it comes to the totalage we could see, and a majority of the snowflakes and flurries that are going to be flying are going to be across northwest Arkansas. We get to late Sunday night into early on Monday morning, and that system is long gone, but again, look at where all the snow, all the freezing rain has been. It's been across portions of Kansas into Missouri, Illinois, and further east. And now we have some strong winds coming from the northwest. So you say, Stephen, what's the problem with that? There's going to be some major snow totalage across the Midwest, and that wind that's traveling to us has to cross over that, so that's going to be even pulling in more of that cold air, forcing us to wake up Monday morning with some dangerously cold temperatures. This is the extended forecast. We're going to give you a little bit more detail than what you need going into this system. Again, you got friends, you got family, you're traveling. Let's just stop there. If you're traveling going into Monday morning, you got friends, you got family on the road, I would highly caution them to take a look at the forecast or at least make a plan of when and where we're going to be stopping at. I just saw recently, actually, from MoDOT, the Missouri Department of Transportation, their advice going into the system, you're traveling across the state of Missouri, is to get where you're going and then stay put. Crews are going to be trying to keep the roads as clear as possible further off towards the north. Again, we're not expecting much in the way of any major impacts, but it's not by far to where the major impacts are going to be. Just to our neighbors towards the north is where we're going to see some major snow totals. You see that pink and purple color there. Look at the graph that we have here of showing how much snow that could be. I think the Midwest could see generally anywhere between 4 up to 12 plus inches of snowfall by the time this system is all said and done. But you take a look back at us, it's not by far to where that heavy snow is going to be and where minor impacts are going to be at that as well. Again, that low pressure system is going to sweep around, and that's going to bring us some snow chances into northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. But it's not going to be much compared to what just off to the north is going to be. So here's a look at what we're expecting going into Sunday evening. I think the snow showers are done by Monday morning, generally anywhere between, let's say, 2 p.m. Sunday and 8 p.m. Sunday is when we could see some flurries flying, mainly across northwest Arkansas. You see these numbers here. Again, this is up to an inch of snowfall will be possible across extreme northwest Arkansas, Benton, Carroll County, into northern Washington, northern Madison County. Now, that's not saying that everywhere in that dark blue zone is going to see an inch of snowfall, but mainly up to an inch of snowfall is generally what we're expecting for Sunday evening. You work further south across the Bobby Hopper Tunnel now, and now we're getting into very minimal impacts when it comes to snow on the roadways. I think generally less than a half inch should be expected. South of I-40 across the River Valley, you may see a few snowflakes flying, a few flurries flying here and there, but when it comes to totalage, when it comes to accumulation, when it comes to any impacts, I'm not expecting much in the way when it comes to major impacts when it comes to the snow. We look what this model is showing us of what could happen across northwest Arkansas. Again, mainly up to an inch or far less than that should be expected across northwest Arkansas. You see nothing across the River Valley. I think anywhere between 1/4 of an inch up to 3/4 of an inch is generally what we're expecting when it comes to snow accumulation across northwest Arkansas going into Monday morning. Not much compared to what the rest of the system is going to be bringing. What is going to be the problem, though, and the main reason why we've declared that weather impact alert is because of the cold air that's going to be coming in behind it. So before we show you how cold that's going to be and what that's going to look like, I just want to give you some tips ahead of time. You generally want to think of the 3 Ps ahead of a large winter system like this: people, pets, and pipes. What I mean by that is the exposure to the cold for the people and the pets during this system is going to be considered dangerous. We're talking about feeling like anywhere between 0 degrees and maybe only up to 10 degrees by the time we're waking up on Monday morning. That means hats, that means gloves, that means big heavy coats, that means protect that skin from the cold air outside as much as you can, because it doesn't take long before we start to see some effects if you have that open skin affected by the outdoor cold. You say, I have to work outside, my job requires me to be outside for tomorrow. Just bundle up, just cover up that skin as best as possible, and try to take as many breaks as possible going inside to start to warm yourself up as well. Now we get to that last P, which for some folks may be the most important, is prepping that home, prepping those pipes ahead of time, because we don't want to avoid any of the freezing pipes in your home from this system. This is definitely a system that can burst some pipes if it's not taken care of properly. What I mean by that is, before you go to bed Sunday night, going into Monday, or even by the time we get to Sunday afternoon, because we're already starting to see that cold air coming in, you may want to start letting the faucet drip just a little bit to keep the water flowing in those pipes so they don't have the chance to freeze up. But also, another tip for you is open up those cabinets, especially where the pipes are just on the exterior wall. So where it's your sink, a wall, and then the outdoor air. I highly encourage you to open up those cabinets so that the warm air inside your house can go in and surround those pipes and keep them warm when we're in this very cold period of those temperatures getting close to 0 when it comes to the wind chill value outside. So again, the 3 Ps, people, pets, and pipes. For those pets out there, hey, if you're cold outside, they're cold outside. Just remember that going in to the next several days. Again, that system where that low pressure is going to be is where the strongest winds are going to be as well. Unfortunately, we're going to see wind gusts across northwest Arkansas in the River Valley, anywhere between 30 to 45 miles per hour Sunday evening, overnight into Monday morning. Just absolutely sucking in that cold air from the northwest across the area. As we get into Monday overnight into Monday morning, still some strong winds out there, wind gusts anywhere between 20 to 30 miles per hour. That's why those wind chill values are going to be so low going into Monday morning. So we take a look. This is at Sunday night. Look at this time up here. At 9 p.m. tomorrow night, maybe by the time you're watching this, just in 24 hours, we're going to see that Arctic air blasting in to the point where going to bed Sunday, this is where you might want to make those home preparations the night before Monday, because we're already seeing wind chill values at 1 in Bentonville, 1 in Rogers, 3 in Fayetteville, and just in between those single digits and teens across the River Valley. Sallisaw at 6, Fort Smith at 9, 11 in Ozark, and 12 in Paris. Again, this isn't even Monday morning when we're waking up. This is Sunday night going into Monday morning. We let this play out. You got through the overnight hours, and now we're starting to get really cold outside. I think by the time we're waking up Monday morning, you got kiddos going back to school. You're getting back into that work routine. Think about how we're going to dress ahead of time, because we could see some wind chill values in the negatives here. -1 in Bentonville at 8 a.m. Monday morning, -1 in Rogers, 1 in Fayetteville, 0 in Huntsville. Across the River Valley, anywhere between those single digits just above that point, close to 11 in Clarksville, 9 in Paris, 3 in Waldron, 9 in Fort Smith and Van Buren. So again, the coldest air we felt so far this season, and it's by a lot. We let this play out even going into Tuesday morning, and we're still talking about single digits and teens across the area. So starting again Sunday afternoon, going through Thursday afternoon, we're going to see wind chill values below freezing, and it's going to be by a lot at that, with the single digits and teens outside. Northwest Arkansas over the next 10 days, weather impact alert for Sunday night going into Monday, mainly because of the cold air that's going to be upon us during that time period. And it's not only then, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, even into Thursday as well. We're going to see some very cold air across the area. Now again, Sunday night, mainly across northwest Arkansas, we could see a few flurries fly, mainly looking at a dusting up to an inch of snowfall at the heaviest. I'm not expecting many major impacts when it comes to the snow totalage though at that. Later on in the week, we start to warm up only by a few degrees. You see, by Wednesday, we're still seeing those daytime highs below freezing. And then, unfortunately, we got to talk about this already. We're going to focus on this system right now, but don't say that, hey, this system's done, now we're done with winter. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. By the time we just get above freezing later on this week, models starting to show that we could see another winter system coming for the end of the week, mainly targeting Friday, that could bring a significantly better chance for some snow across the area. So you got to stay with us on this forecast. We are all in focused right now on what the next 48 hours is going to be, mainly during this weather impact alert for us. That's where all of our energy is going to be focused. Once we start to see some temperatures warm up just a bit and we get out of that dangerous period where those wind chill values are going to be close to 0, we're going to really be focusing our energy on what comes for the end of the week, Thursday night going into Friday, with another potential winter system on the way. Now, good news is, after that system comes through, the warm air maybe starts to stick around a little bit too. By the time we get to early next week, temperatures back up into the low 40s, which is about average for this time of year. Across the River Valley, weather impact alert Sunday night into Monday. I'm not expecting much in the way of any snow accumulation across the River Valley, outside of a few flurries flying here and there. Monday morning, we're waking up, though, anywhere between 5 and 10 degrees when it comes to the wind chill values. Wind gusts near 30 miles per hour. I highly advise you to bundle up, bring those pets in, and protect those pipes overnight Sunday into Monday morning, so we don't have any of those disastrous insurance bills when it comes to the freezing pipe issue. You have to take care of those pipes also for Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Wind chill values waking up close to 10 to 15 degrees. Still going to be very chilly outside. Even if the kiddos aren't going back to school on Monday, maybe Tuesday they're going back. Wind chill values still very cold in the morning. Layer up, multiple layers, cover up as much skin as possible when they're exposed to the outdoor air. Again, later on in the week, Even better chances mainly right now, that Thursday and a Friday system across the river valley. I think that low pressure system, based off models right now, sweeps very south across portions of central Texas into southern Oklahoma and maybe sweeping right in to northwest Arkansas and the river valley. So this might be a rare occasion where that snow concern is greatest across the river valley rather than in northwest Arkansas. You'll have to stay tuned with us though as we get a little bit closer. Good news is warm air comes back in late into the forecast going into early next week, with temperatures back up into the low to mid 40s. So again, I know there was a lot to cover. Really what you need to understand over the next several days is that minor accumulation for some snow Sunday evening, mainly across northwest Arkansas, and then no matter where you live, northwest Arkansas, River Valley, eastern Oklahoma, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, bundle up. It's going to be dangerously cold outside. People, pets, and pipes need to be protected during this very cold period of the coldest air we felt so far this season. We'll continue to provide updates throughout this system. Just know, though, get out the winter gear over the next several days. From 5 News, I'm meteorologist Stephen Elmore. That's your 5+ extended forecast.